Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pop Culture Spread, our fun weekly movie and streaming news show with a twist. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Rick. Hit that like and subscribe button. Also, hit that notification bell. We would really appreciate it. Also, remember you can hear us on audio podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and where all good podcasts are found. Check out our merch store. All the links are down below. And joining me on the show, as always, he's the other half of Pop Culture Spread and my good mate, VHS. Jace, how are you, buddy?
Good morning, sir. I am doing well. I am up. I am ready to talk all the news that popped out this week in movie and streaming news, buddy.
We do. We got some crackers today, so I looking forward to it. All right, buddy. Let's get into some big news. All right. I know we covered a little bit about this. I think a couple of shows back we did. David Zaslav shelving Batgirl and Coyote versus Acme took courage. Warner Brothers Discovery president and CEO David Zaslav is again defending his decision to shelve high-profile films. What are your thoughts on this, Jace? Is this an ego thing or is this a good decision?
Well, that's the interesting question. I think that is the real question about this story, because he has been widely criticized for making such bold cuts and moves. He shredded HBO Max, a lot of the stuff that was coming out of there. As you know, he shelved a completed film by all reports of Batgirl, were almost complete. Coyote versus Acme, which had been filmed and was halfway through being complete, has been pulled as well. But, I mean, look, is it an ego thing? There's always ego to play when you've got someone with that kind of power, right? He's a guy coming in, his job is to make Warner Brothers profitable. I just don't see him doing this and getting this stuff across the board, across the actual board of Warner Brothers, unless he had a plan, unless there's sound, logical reasons for making these cuts. And look, are they brave? No, it's not a brave thing to do that. It's probably a financial decision to be made, a decision that might have had to have been made. But however, it's also very indicative, Rick, of the change that I've been going on about for so long. I mean, look at this quote from David Zaslav. He goes, "We've spent the $100 million, and if we don't release it, it's gone. We don't have any real benefit from it. The question is, should we take certain of these movies and open them in the theater and spend another or $30 million to promote them?"
Fair enough.
Right? That's the question. They've spent $100 million. They don't release it, it's gone. Do they have to invest another $40 million? And the Warner Brothers team and HBO made a number of decisions. They were hard. But when I look at the health of our company today, we needed to make those decisions, and it took real courage. Well, I don't buy the last bit, but everything else sounds pretty solid to me. And I think, Rick, if you're sitting on lame turkeys, how many times should you go through the process of releasing a lame turkey in the hope that you might recoup some of the costs? Now, obviously, dude, there's going to be tax benefits for them not releasing it as well and writing it off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think the fans who are rightfully upset, they honestly, they end up becoming the people who, I don't know, call it suffering, but they're the ones who lose out. But that's just the way it is, you know?
When you get to that point, when you've created a movie like Batgirl, you've done all that, when does that point go in your head and you think, okay, we need to just can this, this is no good? Or was it halfway through the process of making this movie? Surely they would have seen some sort of change or something that's not right for them to make this decision.
I think it was definitely a working cut, what they saw, and made the decision. Like it might have been, I don't know what version it was at, but it was an assembly of the film. Maybe some of the CGI hadn't been there. But if it just didn't work, it didn't work. And, you know, it's very unusual for someone to have done that, though. That normally doesn't happen. It would be, let's complete this as quick as we can, dump it in cinemas, try to get a big opening weekend, and get out of there. And yeah, it is. It is because what it's done from him making those choices is put a sour note, number one, on his leadership, and number two, on the brand of Warner Brothers to do this. So I don't think anyone's going to do that and try to risk the reputation of Warner Brothers unless there's a holistic strategy that is designed for long-term success of Warner Brothers.
Well, he must see something in it for him to do these decisions. Hopefully they can get this right, and then we can get to see some good content coming out of out
But
of
we
this. But
are,
we'll
Rick.
see, I don't know.
We are starting to get. We always talk about the negative that Warner Brothers does, but let's look at a couple of the positives that they've done.
What are the positives?
Okay, I can give you two examples. One is Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle was initially made and budgeted for a HBO Max one-off movie. That's what it was designed to do. Now, David Zaslav saw a cut of that and went, no, this deserves to be a theatrical cut. So it got upgraded. There is another Warner Brothers film that's getting a theatrical release. We've mentioned it before, the one with Daffy Duck and Porky Pig.
Yeah.
And it's done in a very retro 50s style. I think it's an alien kind of thing. That has gotten now a theatrical production. So it's not all this guy with the axe of Zaslav is just going through and mowing everything off. No, we're losing some things, we're gaining others. As for him as a person, I don't know him. I don't know his background or anything else like that. I look at this as purely what they're doing from a business perspective for the health of one of the greatest studios that's ever existed, Rick, is Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, Warner Brothers is one of the flagship studios. So you want to see it succeed.
We do. So I'm sure we'll get more on this coming out. All right, Jace, let's get into what's in other news. Well, we've got some casting news on a TV series which is coming out, which is very exciting. Alien. Timothy Oliphant joins Noah Howell's FX series. This is great casting, I think. I think he's a great actor. He's done some great TV and some great movies. What are your thoughts on this one, Jace? Are you a Timothy Oliphant
I'm a big fan of Mr. Olyfantastic. I think he's a really good actor. I do enjoy his roles. I think it's a big news because I think someone like that's not going to sign on to a garbage series. And I'm really excited for this Alien TV series. So, and he's also reuniting with Noah Hawley because they have worked together before on Fargo. So it's like they're known to each other. So he's signing up for a major role in the Alien series, which is absolutely wonderful. So details, details of the show a little far between, but here's some stuff, you know. Deadline reported that the cast includes Alex Lawther. I don't know who that is. As a soldier named CJ. We have Samuel Bletkin playing as Boy Cavalier, a CEO. Characters named Dame Sylvia. Like, it's very odd names. So I'm not sure when this is set. But here we go. We do find out.
70 years in the future.
It's actually executive produced by Ridley Scott. So the New Alien series is set in a time period before Sigourney Weaver's Ripley and the first story in the franchise that takes place on Earth roughly 70 years in the future. Oh. So this must be set, I don't know, 20 years before? Don't know. But either way, I'm really excited because Noah Hawley is a quality creator and you know, the idea of Alien getting a TV series, I think there's a real potential there.
Definitely.
And, you know, you get a good quality actor like Mr. Olyfantastic, as I like to call him. It's only good news, right?
And you've got the backing of Ridley Scott as well. He's in there as well. So you've got a good
But then again, Ridley Scott did make Prometheus and Alien competent as well. So, which I got to be honest with you, I don't hate as much as everyone else does. But there you go.
Each to their own, Jace. Each to their own.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Let's move on. I know we were talking a bit of Warner Brothers and shows and cost of everything, but let's go over to Disney. Big story here says that no Disney movie will cross $1 billion at the box office this year, and that's bad news. What is this going on here, mate? Are we seeing a decline?
This is reflective of what we have been reporting, like everyone else has been reporting, that Disney is in a decline, and it is showing it this year. They have not had a film that has crossed $1 billion mark, which was unusual because in the 2010s they were the dominant studio. For example, Rick, in 2000, where are we? Have we got it here? There is some information here about where they went. Okay, here we go. In 2009, right? 19, sorry. They had Aladdin, Toy Story 4, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, Captain Marvel, Frozen 2, Lion King, and Avengers Endgame all make minimum $1 billion each.
Wow.
Which is incredible, with Avengers Endgame being $2.8 billion on its own.
Yeah.
That's what you had. And then you can throw Spider-Man Far From Home in that too, because Disney had a stake in that. Now, this year, the only film that even made significant money for them was James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which topped out at $845 million worldwide.
Wow, just shy of it.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
And the other movies that really got into that, Oppenheimer got just under $1 billion. The Super Smash Brothers movie made $1.36 billion this year. And Barbie was the big one this year with $1.44 billion. So to see that Disney, who had been named to, like I said, I listed, 7 or 8 films they got in 1 year that went over $1 billion. The next biggest Disney film for this year was The Little Mermaid, which made $569 million. That came out earlier this year.
That's not really
and
a
then
lot.
you had Elemental, which made $495 million, which wasn't bad. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, $476 million.
Yeah.
Which is one of the lowest MCU movies, box office-wise, a long time. But there you go. It's a changing world for Disney. The things that they could rely on 10 years ago, they can't rely on anymore.
Changing.
And they are now starting to see the cost of being creatively bankrupt. And Disney have been for a long time, ever since they started remaking all their classic animated features into live-action garbage. And that's the reality, Rick. It's garbage.
They are complete garbage. They are.
You know, you get some good ones. I reckon Cinderella's a good one. I think that's pretty good. I think Jungle Book is pretty great. But besides that, forget Aladdin's okay. The rest of them go. None of them need to be made. Here's the issue here. Disney had a decades-long history of being creative, retelling fables and nursery from back in the when they were books to, creative new ideas. And then they just stopped. They gave up, And now we still get original content, but it's still few and far between. And they generally rely on Pixar to deliver that original content or something else that they own. So I would love Disney to really, really take a step right back and maybe look at the Disney model from the 80s and the 70s. Well, maybe not the 70s. They didn't show great. But times past where they were successful, pace movies out. Don't come out with something every single year. Maybe it's every couple of years you have your big feature. And then do the smaller films. They used to do smaller budgeted films that did very well for themselves, But yeah, they ain't making the money, so something's going to change no matter what I say or what anyone says, because they're just going to have to. The accountant's going to say so.
Well, stop making stupid decisions like, in Snow White and all those stupid decisions. Stop, like I said, stop remaking things. Like, do we really need live action stuff?
It's just, and that's my thing. It's not what the story is. It's, I know Snow White's been drowned in controversy. It's not even about that. It's just about don't bastardize your content to create this new hybrid that leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth. Rather than what they used to do, Rick, they used to re-release. They used to have their release their films, right?
Yeah.
And then they'd only come out for window, and then they put them away in the Disney vault. And then every 5 to 10 years, they would do a re-release of those films theatrically to give an opportunity for the next generation to come along, take their families, and go and experience Pinocchio or Bambi in the cinema. And there was something magical about that they've kind of stripped away. Because, the kids don't remember the cartoon Aladdin. These young kids, they're going to remember the Will Smith one. They're not going to remember Lion King from the 1994 Amazing Lion King.
Yep.
They're going to mostly know it from the film, Well, hopefully not. Hopefully there's great parents that push that away and only let them watch the animated ones.
Show them the back catalogue. Yeah.
But, still, Disney have really lost their way in the last 10 to 15 years, all for the chase to be all-powerful. And they've lost their way because of it.
The all-powerful playing Disney, hey? Do better, Disney. Do better.
That's the mouse's house. Yeah.
That's it. All right, Jason, let's move on to the next story because I'm really excited about this story. This is really cool. Let's go back to the 80s, mate, when it was a good little movie.
Early 80s.
Early 80s, and they're doing a sequel, which is great. Rob Reiner confirms this is Spinal Tap sequel is set to start filming in February 2024. This is awesome news. I think this is great. This is one of those movies, and if you're not familiar with it, it was a mockumentary on a fake band.
They're real, Rick. Right? They're real.
No, they're not.
Spinal Tap. What a film. One of the funniest films I've ever seen. And secondly, they went and toured the world as a rock band. For decades. But this is what's exciting. Number one, Rob Reiner said in the podcast when he was out there, they're going to start shooting end of February and everybody is back. So that's amazing. And secondly, think about this idea. We're going back to see this is Spinal Tap when they're all really old men.
Yeah. So what have they been doing for the last 40 years? What have they been doing
for the last 40 years? Like, there's so much comedy gold to be mined there.
Correct.
If you think about, like, all those characters. So I'm absolutely thrilled. I thought this was awesome when I heard this.
Yeah.
Because why not? Why not go and visit these guys? I mean, when you've got bands like U2 and the Rolling Stones still touring after 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
This is Spinal Tap. Potentially still could be touring at that age. So it makes total sense that they're doing a sequel for this. I'm pumped for it.
Is this on? Is this on streaming? Spinal Tap? Like, I don't.
Oh, well, it depends. Sometimes I have seen it on streaming. I have seen it. I think you'll find you look at Amazon Prime, perhaps.
Yeah, it'd be good. I haven't seen it in such a long time.
No.
Yeah.
No,
really
actually, I've seen it so many times. I absolutely can't wait. Really excited.
It's been a while, mate. It's been a while. No, that's exciting news. So yeah, we're definitely keen to see when that starts coming out. I'm sure there'll be some trailers and some bits and pieces coming out.
Oh, yes. I think it'll be
awesome. Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, Jace, let's get into your favorite segment, the train wreck of the week. What's happening in this train wreck of the week, Jace?
Well, this is more of like, how did it take so long for this to happen? And that is Joel Silver has been reportedly fired from Amazon Movies over verbal abuse allegations. Now, Joel Silver, if you don't know who Joel Silver is, you will know some of the films that he has been behind, especially in the 80s and 90s. He, Commando, Lethal Weapon, Predator, Die Hard.
All the big ones.
He's currently working on the Roadhouse remake with Jake Gyllenhaal and a movie with Mark Wahlberg. This guy was one of the big producers back in the day. He did films like Ricochet with Denzel Washington and things like that. However, he's been fired because apparently the way he's been talking to some of the executives has not been so good. So he's been let go. Now, anyone who knows anything about behind the scenes of Joel Silver, he is known to be a maniac.
Yep.
He is that typical, stereotypical cigar smoking, throwing shit around his office. Think, what's his name from Tropic Thunder? That's what we're thinking of when we think of Joel Silver, right? So I'm shocked that hasn't happened earlier. But how dumb are you in 2023 to think you can go around talking to people like that and no one is going to pull you up on it? It's a different world now, Joel. You've seen what happened to your buddy Harvey, right?
Yeah,
So
well,
come
yeah.
on. Like, you should know better. And if you have been stepping out of line, that's a professional work area where you should be feeling safe. You should be copping abuse, and you deserve to be sacked, Joel. I loved your movies. Thank you for making the movies, but there's no excuse to be an asshole anymore. There really isn't.
He's still stuck in the 80s and 90s, mate.
Well, look at that. He's remaking old films. So Joel Silver had apparently already fulfilled his obligations on Roadhouse. And he will not be working on the other film with Wahlberg called Play Dirty.
Yeah. Roadhouse. I don't know. Does it warrant a remake? I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
That's just my
However,
opinion.
though, here you want to hear a little bit of spin. Anthony Pellicano, private investigator, so awesome, and Silver's longtime associate, meaning Silver's used his private investigator to spy on people for decades. Clearly, that's what that implies.
Look at him.
The parting of the ways is amicable. He was not fired. They were just disagreements with creative concerns.
Oh, that's bullshit.
He got sacked. You got sacked, Silver.
That's a political
You're out
way
your
of
ass,
putting it.
mate.
Yeah.
No, but there you go. So out of that, Joel Silver, mate, you're going to have to go and check yourself. I think that it's definitely that old type of stereotypical, anger-filled, bullyish producer type. Just not going to exist anymore.
Where's he going to go now? Who's going to hire him after?
Well, he's going to go into Mea Culpa. I mean, the guy, he's probably got 75 mansions. I mean, it'd be worth everything.
I think
he never has to work again. So if they decide to cancel him in Hollywood, he'll just retire.
Yeah.
He'll just retire.
Yeah.
So there you go. Trainer of the week. You idiot, Joel Silver. Though I do love your films you produce.
Done. All right, Jace, let's get into obviously a good little segment that we enjoy, which is called Great Aussie Telly.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up to die is a bum.
Now, Jace, I don't know what you do every week for these Great Aussie Tellies.
I don't bring it up.
You don't bring it up? So what have you got today for us?
Well, when we were kids growing up and watching Aussie TV, especially in the 80s, 70s and 80s, the television stations, we only had really 3 major commercial stations plus the ABC, would, they did a lot of kids television, and they would also do a lot of community-based ads and information and things like that, especially around kids. And I don't know if you remember this. Channel 9 develops this series of animated community messaging for kids around health and how to look after yourself. So here we go. I'm going to play you the first one. And let me, at the end of this, you tell me if you remember this or not. But here we go.
Sure see a lot of them teeth. Crocodile fight with them, lions chew with them, babies cry a lot, getting their first teeth. Oh, teeth. The fairies pay out for them when you lose your first teeth. Dentists can sometimes fix teeth so your smile is sweet. Try and take teeth without your 2 front teeth. But if we don't look after them, they would all fall out. So how do we look after our teeth?
Let's look at what happens after we've eaten. Little bits of food stay behind in the gap between the teeth. They're the nasty bits because they cause decay. So to get rid of the nasties, you brush your teeth like this. First up and down on the outside, then up and down on the inside, then rub the gums. Simple, isn't it?
People even leave them in a jar beside the bed. Now you don't want to be like them, so brush your teeth instead, and you'll have teeth
You remember
Channel
that?
9 birth. Wow.
Do you
no,
remember that at
no,
all?
I do not remember that.
Wow, that used to be
Oh.
big playing when I was a kid. I certainly remember that because they came out with a series, including another one they came out with, which I won't play the whole thing, but that was around bullying. Do you
Oh,
remember the one around bullying?
okay.
Let me show you this then.
There we go.
This is all about dinglings. Ah, here comes one now.
Dinglings do stupid things, they don't think of others at all. They're dopes and bullies, see the trouble they bring. That's what we call dinglings.
You don't remember that either? Dinglings? Yeah. But they were wonderfully done, and it was from a simpler time as they would really hammer home positive messaging throughout the mornings or in afternoons when children's television was on. And so, no, I remember that being a big part of my childhood. Well, that's a first, been able to play something from our country that you've never seen before.
There you go.
Brilliant
See,
stuff.
this is what I love. I don't know what he's going to bring out, and he brings them out.
That
I
is
love it.
definitely late 70s, I would say,
Yeah.
those commercials.
Do you know how long they ran for? Did they?
Years.
Did
I
we-
reckon all the way up to the mid-80s, I think, easily.
Okay.
Definitely. So,
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Oh, all right. I'm sure there's a whole slew of them on the internet I can check out.
Yes, well, that's where I get them from. So
That's
yeah,
it.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Jace, I think that about wraps it up for us. Thanks, mate. It's been a great show as always. Appreciate everyone that's been watching us on the live, which is great. Let's just plug a few things as well, Jason. We've got a few announcements as
Sure.
well towards the end of the show. You can catch myself on here doing some trailer reactions and a whole heap of other bits and pieces. So go check that out. Jace, where can everyone find you? I know you're in a slew of places. Where are you?
Absolutely. You can also find me over in the Jason Roy Gaston channel, where, shenanigans. It's where comedy goes to die. Me and Jason do a slew of fun shows. It's really, really good. Go and check that out as well. You can also catch me this week returning for their 100th episode. It was a lot of fun. Really recommend you go check it out over on the Captain's Quadrant with Captain Joe Dove and Jason Roy Gaston. It was a really fun episode. And if you're a Star Trek fan, a great little message from one of the great Star Trek actors wishing us a happy 100. So that was really cool. Also, if you do like what Joe does over at Captain's Quadrant, go check out his Doctor Who podcast. If you're into Doctor Who, he started up a Doctor Who podcast called The Console Room, and you can check that over at tobeseen.com. So that's where you can find us and some of our friends, Rick.
Awesome. And then if you want to know who Joe is, if you don't know who Captain Joe is, then check out our episode from last week because Joe was a special guest on there. So you'll find that in the links down below.
And
But
the
also,
podcast as well.
Jace, and the podcast as well. Also, guys, we're going to be taking a week off next week. We've got some scheduling issues. We do
It's
have
Christmas time. Let's face it, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Where everyone's got bloody events on. There's work dues. There's everything else.
So
Unavoidable.
But
We tried
will be
everything.
back the following week, and we're going to be working on a few things towards the end of the year as well. We're looking forward to that. All right, Jace, thank you so much for joining me on the show. As always, it's been a pleasure. Great show, and we will see everyone in 2 weeks' time.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
See you then.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Pop Culture Spread YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. And if you're looking for some quality wear, don't forget to check out our merchandise store available right now. Yep, she'll be right.